Good evening, everybody. I call to order the Select Board meeting from Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. The time is 7:30. We're in the Great Hall. Though everybody is present here and there's a quorum present of the Select Board, I do want to read the little top notice that we have. Normally this is required only when it's a hybrid meeting, but there's some changes that I want to make people aware of. So let me read this. This meeting is currently scheduled to be held as a hybrid meeting as authorized by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, which authorizes municipal boards to meet remotely or in a hybrid formal in-person and remote participation. That authorization is scheduled to expire on March 31st, 2025, which was yesterday. If legislative action extends or modifies current allowances for remote or hybrid participation, the format of this hearing may be adjusted accordingly, and the meeting may, if required, be held in person with no remote option at the Great Hall, 10 Pearl Street. Any changes will be noted on the town website. Please check https://stoughton.org regularly for updates and participation detail. The meeting will be recorded by SMAC Cable Television, broadcast live, and may be live streamed at www.stoughtontv.org. A recording of the meeting, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings will be posted on the town website and/or SMAC as soon as possible after the meeting if the live broadcast or live streaming is unsuccessful. Times are approximate and items may be taken out of order at the chair's discretion. So I'm not sure if that legislation has been signed, but there's like a 10-day grace period, so we're within. So we're able to proceed as a hybrid meeting. But for any other boards, committees that are listening in on this, you might be aware that we're still waiting for this to actually be signed, and you might just be mindful that after that 10 days, if it still hasn't been signed, I think you'll have to make sure that you're complying with the current laws, which have changed. It's been like this since I think 2020, right? Yeah. So we've kind of gotten used to it. So out of habit, you might stick with it. Thank you very much for indulging that. But as I mentioned, we have a quorum of the Select Board present, Mr. Gino and Ms. Roberts to my left, Mr. McCrisky and Vice Chair Carrera to my right, and I'm here as well. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. So the first order of business is citizens' comments. Is there anybody who would like to be heard? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is Select Board comments. I've been on a couple of emails that kind of lead me to believe we might be talking about a couple of things that have some guardrails that we should be conscious of. Anything related to the election or ballots, I would just ask the Select Board members to be mindful of the fact that many of us, almost all of us, are on the ballot, and some of the issues that have been identified affect us personally as candidates or affect people we're friends with, spouses, family members. For that reason, in my conversations with town council, he did have concern that comments related to that could be understood to be election interfering. When people speak, I'm going to allow you guys to use your own discretion as to whether or not you're going to, what you're going to do with that information. Additionally, any comments about public employees, hired or appointed, be mindful of the fact that anybody in those positions, they have rights as employees of the town, and if you're not sure of what can and cannot be said, what should and should not be said, I'd recommend you reach out to town council to make sure that you don't risk either issues with yourself or with the entire board in the town. But in the interest of really offering people a voice to say whatever they want to say, I believe that the thing that I usually read to the people who are giving citizens comments regarding Barron versus Southborough, the fact is that once you give somebody an opportunity to speak at this meeting, they have a First Amendment right to say whatever they want, and I don't believe that I have the right to interfere with that, except to determine whether or not they speak at all, or if they are going to speak, the time frame for which they're going to be given. So to that end, I am going to ask people to adhere to a 10-minute time limit, which seems to me pretty generous. If everybody uses that, we'll be here for about an hour doing citizens' comments. Beyond that, what you say is up to you. So we'll begin with, we'll start with Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to share a celebration of life. Longtime, lifelong resident of the town of Stoughton, a friend of my son's, my younger son, and a friend of our families. His name is Patrick Michael Riley Malden. Patrick Malden was 38, a lifelong resident of Stoughton. He died unexpectedly at home on Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. He was born in Norwood. He was the son of Bernadette M. Riley of Stoughton and George W. Malton of Henderson, Nevada. He graduated from Stoughton High School, class of 2005. He worked at several different Roach Brothers supermarkets in the area. In addition to his parents, Patrick is survived by his daughters, Sarah M. Riley Malden, Samantha M. Riley Malden, and Scarlett M. Riley Malden, all of Hanson. He was the brother of Alicia M. Riley of Stoughton and uncle of Jared R. Maynard. He is also survived by his former wife, Jessica L. Verde of Hanson. Visiting hours will be held at the Farley Funeral Home here in Stoughton on Thursday, April 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 12. The funeral service and burial will be private. So I would like to take a moment of silence in celebration of his life, please. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that. My condolences to the family and the friends of the deceased. Mr. Gito, would you like to make any comments?
Yes, I do, and I hope that I am within the bounds of your earlier discussion. There's been quite a bit of back and forth and across and up and down on the issue of whether town meeting representatives had the re-election designation after their names for those people who have. And there are a lot of people who are in that position. I found on the website, on the town clerk's website, all 3 of the previous years with all of the people who were elected at the annual town meeting. So there are a lot of people in that group. But I don't want to go any further into that now. I mean, I think that we need to think about how to deal with that later on, but not now. But I do have a suggestion. I know that there are plans to put in the areas voting something that shows who has been a select board member versus those who have not. And if they're just going to be on the wall, it's going to be very difficult for people to remember those names versus other names. I don't know whether this is legal or not, but I would make the suggestion that in each precinct, they have a stack of papers with that same information on it beside the intake for the people who want to vote. And if they can be directed if they want to take it or not, to bring that with them. They can't leave it in the booth afterwards, so that they don't get confused. So that would be my suggestion, because I think it's a very important issue, and I don't think that we treated our town meeting representatives in the best way possible. That's all I'm going to say about that now, but I will have other things to say about it later.
Thank you very much. For anybody who is curious to see what Mr. G is referring to, it's actually on the town website. I just Googled Stoughton Stoughton Town Clerk elections, and it brought me to the Stoughton.org page for town elections. At the very bottom, it has sample ballot, and those sample ballots include a sample ballot for each precinct where people who were previously town meeting members have an asterisk beside their name, and below it says currently serving, where the asterisk is defined. It says currently serving as a town meeting representative. So this is available on our town website. If you want to print up a copy and bring it with you, bring it discreetly with you. I don't believe that'd be an issue. So you can have that reference handy. I think you can, if you're able to, also look it up on your phone while you're there. But yeah, these will be on the walls and available for people to look at as well. Let's see. Next, we'll go with Mr. McCrisky.
No comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And then Vice Chair Carrera, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's unfortunate that the town manager isn't here, and I don't want to put this on Mark, because it should be, I'd like to have the town manager's input on this. I don't know if you guys watched the news in the morning, and if there's a crash on 24, or there's something going on 95, the traffic girls or the traffic guys go, hey, you can get around this by jumping on 138 or 27 out of Brockton. I get up, I'm out, I see the line of traffic on 27, it's unbearable. And then where do they go? Up Prospect Street, because they touch their things and they go, we can go this way. And they're like flying. Then the worst thing is, we have current construction up on 27 with guys working. 3 guys just got hit in the guardrail out on 95 or whatever, 495. And I don't think these people, they can tell you, hey, there's a crash. You chose to drive the highway. That's where you should be staying. You might have to sit through the half an hour of whatever it is, but you don't belong on our side roads passing buses, because it happens on Park Street, flying up Prospect Street until we can have an accident with our fire trucks, or there's going to be a big problem when they get up to 138 in the corridor we're just improving, and then all hell's going to break loose. So what I was wondering is there a way we can put a letter together from the board and maybe mail it to 456-725 and say, you want to talk about what's going on, just inform people. Don't give them the runaround routes on unimproved street surfaces that they're doing 60, 65 out in the highway, and then they're going to come down 27 and they think they're going to do 60, 65 a Prospect into the square. They They don't even watch the lights. You watch them, and you see them go through. So I don't know if maybe I'm just being alarmist, but I want to try to curtail something before somebody gets hurt, killed, or a child gets hurt. So I don't know if that's something the board wants to put together as a letter, or have maybe Tom pen it, or we can look at if he pens it, or we pen it, and then all sign it. Or if you guys don't want to all sign it, I'll sign it, because I don't have a problem with it. But to send people and say, well, you can get around it by going 138 to here, they have no idea what's going on in our towns. And I just think it's dangerous.
I appreciate that. Actually, I'll just ask Gilda if you don't mind putting that. I know there's a number of items there. We're going to have a reorganization, so who knows what's going to happen 2 weeks from now. But we can get it on the list of things that we'll discuss, and whoever's in charge of the agenda can determine when it goes on. But if it were to be me, I'd want to get that on sooner rather than later. Probably not the next meeting, but the following one, like early May.
Only because the weather's starting to get better.
Yeah.
And people get a little more charged up when the weather's a little bit better. They're all get up and go.
Yeah, I know. I'm very. I mean this sincerely. I'm very impressed with your sort of analog. It's the paper and the news. For me, I'm very digital, and the app that I use for GPS, which by the way, I need a GPS to find my own restroom. I can't find anything ever. So I know people with a great sense of direction who know they can just tell you which direction's east. I have no clue, but I use Waze, and that app does exactly what you're describing. If there's traffic on a highway, I mean, I've driven all the way from Boston to my house, having not been on a single highway. And I just go through the woods, and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at. And you spit out, you go through small neighborhoods making weird turns. None of us belong there. And I'm sort of aware of it, but I'm also I'm hopeless without it. So it'd be nice to see, there might be nothing you can do, but it would be great if we could expand it to platforms like that, and just make them aware of the fact that the impact they have on local communities is serious, and the streets are not designed for this.
I concur with. Can you hear me? I concur with Steve, Scott. I do listen to the men and women in the morning that do the traffic, but by the time I get to my point, it's already changed. So I use the app, and the app I think most people use these days. I know you don't use the app, but most people, at least traveling to Boston, will use the app, and it will reject you. You literally listen to the app. So that might be a better direct route to get the best bang for your buck, but we can reach out to the news stations too. But by the time I leave Freetown and get here, it's a whole different story anyways. So
It's only because I know some people have those alerts on their phone. It says 25 has just encountered blah, blah, blah. And then right away you take your phone and you watch it, and the girl pops up or the guy pops up and he says, you can cut, 6 minutes off if you get off at here and run this here.
Yep.
But, I mean, we have current stuff going on, and they're not going to go get off at 138, but be ready to be parked for 20 minutes while the excavator's loading the truck in the middle of the street.
right.
So it might fall on deaf ears, but I think it's something they should face, because I'm waiting for the first lawsuit to take place because somebody gave the information to skirt the highway. They were on the highway, that's all they got to say is, I was on the highway, I got off because of this. They chose to be stupid. You know what I mean?
And 138 is not the road you want to be on for the next year for a cut through. So.
No.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Correa. So I only have a couple of announcements, pretty brief. One of the things that was brought to my attention from the town clerk is that there are some people who are asking for their mail-in ballots. In researching that, she found that they did not request a mail-in ballot in the current year. I'm going to just read what she wrote for me. So the election is going to be held, our next local election is to be held Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. If you are looking to vote by mail, the last day to request a ballot was April 1st, so today. Please note, though, you may have filled this out previously. The application expires on December 31st of every calendar year. Please feel free to call the office if you have any additional questions at 781-341-1300, extension 9214 or 9215. There is still time to vote early in the town clerk's office and office the remainder of the week as follows: Wednesday, April 2nd, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Thursday, April 3rd, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, April 4th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then, of course, it doesn't say it here, but the election is, the election day is April 8th, Tuesday. So I just want to make people aware of that. Beyond that, I have no other comments to make, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. And that is the issuance of debt for Title V loan for the septic betterment. And we have our treasurer, Paula Newt, to provide information. So apologies, but I just want to make sure it's on the record that we do have one member of the board who's recusing himself from this conversation, as Vice Chair Carrera. He's not participating at all. He's sitting in the audience. So, Ms. Newt, always great to see you. It's really wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and good evening to all you wonderful people. I would imagine you have in your packets the Mass Clean Water Trust $100,000 bond that you need to sign off on. The town is eligible for a $100,000 Mass Clean Water Trust interim loan through the Community Septic Management Program. This is an interim loan, and it has no payments due until the loan becomes a permanent loan on February 15th of 2026. The permanent loan will be for 20 years and will have an interest rate of 2%. The first payment is not due until July 15th, 2026, and we will pay twice every fiscal year, an interest payment and then a principal payment. And the payments for the principal are even payments of $5,000. And I will take any questions you may have.
I only have one question, which is I know that typically for these there's a very, very long motion. It looks like this one's up there, and I just wanted to ask just to clarify when we vote. We need to read this full statement, correct?
Actually, you do not. There should be in your packet I think either I emailed it or I put it in there, that it just says that one of the members can read this out loud, which is a very short blurb of that it was going into the minutes, I believe.
Oh, you have it? Thank you.
So it's a lot nicer.
Oh, yeah, I'm usually the one who volunteers for it, so I'm
Yes,
grateful.
you
Always
do.
grateful. Okay, I got it. I've got the motion. Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Once again, one of the people who has paper always saves the day. I appreciate it. Beyond that, does anybody on the board have any questions about this? No questions? Then would anybody like to make the following motion? A motion to vote to approve the issuance of debt to be issued by the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust for loan number CWT-25-01 and sign related closing documents.
So moved.
Okay.
Second?
Okay, so the motion was made by Mr. Gito, seconded by Ms. Roberts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No abstentions? Then we have, it's a unanimous vote. And just once again, would like to mention that Vice Chair Carrera abstained from either discussion on this and voting on it, for the record. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes until we move on to the next item. So since we have a little bit of time, I'd like to just take the opportunity to vote on the consent agenda, which is only minutes. This is approval of open session minutes, meeting of March 11th, 2025, and March 18th, 2025. Are there any changes that anybody would like to make to those minutes? Mr. Gito.
On the first page of March 18th, down under town manager's comments, Mr. Gito questioned if the incumbent town meeting representatives should be reflected. I was thinking that perhaps recognized might be a better word.
Okay.
Does that work?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
And on the next page, I think that all the discussion under Mr. Alves's presentation, instead of Mr. Gito thanked, I think, Mr. McCrisky, I think you were the one who made most of the comments, and I don't want to steal your thunder here. And
Whatever way it's written, Lou, it doesn't matter. What was said is said.
I think that your name should be inserted instead of mine. Not that I would be embarrassed to have it there, but I think it's yours.
You have the floor. It's totally up to you.
Okay, so page 2, the first paragraph. If I'm incorrect, then let me know, but I don't think I am. So I think where it says Mr. Gito, it should say Mr. McCrisky.
Okay.
So those are my only comments.
Thank you so much. Ms. Roberts.
My comment for a correction is only a misspelling on the Tuesday, March 18th, on page 1, under Town Manager comment. Just correct the spelling of Town Manager Coulter's last name, please. And that's it.
Oops. Thank you very much. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So,
Okay, made by Mr. McCrisky, seconded by Vice Chair Carrera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes unanimously, so we can move on to the next order of business, which is the public hearings. Those don't begin until 8 o'clock, which is about a minute from now. And so that we just don't burn time, we'll just take a 1 or 2 minute recess and reconvene at 8 o'clock. The time is 8 o'clock. The next order of business on our agenda are two public hearings. One is a joint poll petition of Mass Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated, project number 309-27002. And the second is an application for a common victular license for Stoughton Bakery and Cafe Incorporated, 2729 Wyman Street. As we have been doing all year, Vice Chair Carrera handles public hearings. He's got a lot of experience doing it, and we are always appreciative to him lending a hand with that skill set. So for the purposes of these two items, Vice Chair Carrera is the acting chair. All comments and questions should be directed through him to the rest of the board. Thank you very much, Mr. Carrera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A public hearing will be held by the Select Board on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, at 8 p.m. to consider the joint petition of Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc., who are requesting permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protective fixtures along and across the following public way: Atkinson Ave Extension, National Grid to install 3 joint poles on Atkinson Ave extension beginning at point approximately 0 feet from the center line of the intersection of Washington Street and Atkinson Ave, and continue approximately 200 feet in the east direction. National Grid to install 140-foot CI2 and 240 C13 with anchors to bring service to the new customer. Project number 309-27002. The hearing will be conducted in the Great Hall, 3rd floor, Town Hall, 10 Pearl Street, Stoughton, Mass., and/or virtually and via Google Meets, and may be broadcast via Stoughton Media Access Television and live stream. Google Meets video link and telephone connection for public comment available by calling the Select Board office at 781-341-1300, extension 9212, or email to gpereira@stoughtonmass.gov. I'll entertain a motion to open the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion to open in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's open. Oh. All righty. I'm sure that, is Jared online tonight, or who's up there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jared. Go ahead.
Awesome. So,
I'll
Jared Baker.
I'll read just a couple of things into the information, then I'll turn it back over to you. Sorry.
Okay, no.
We have the National Grid plan that shows the poles being located. There is the cards that went out, and the advertisement. What's the matter, Steve?
Put his camera on.
Jared, could you put your camera on so that the board can be able to talk to you face to face? Is that?
Yeah, so I'm still on my work computer, so I don't have the camera available right now.
That's the way we'll have to do. It's going to be hybrid remote. We have from the Assistant Chief of the Fire Department, Jackson Maycomber. He has approved it. The Police Department doesn't have any problem with it, and they have no objections, so it's an approval from them. From the Engineering Department, Assistant Craig Horsfall, Assistant Town Engineer, he has no objections and has been reviewed. And the DPW, Paul Jaffoum, Superintendent of DPW, has no objections. All right, Jared, go ahead.
All right, so Jared Aker, just representing National Grid at 100 East Ashland Street in Brockton. These 3 poles are in order to provide power to the new tenant next to Dana Barrows on Atkinson Ave Extension. It's just to bring the primary down the street so we can power their transformer and power their building.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions of the board? Mr. Gito?
Yes, thank you. I guess a question to Jared and perhaps to the town engineer. Why aren't the poles at the edge of the property line and the street layout line? Why do we put them sort of in a place where perhaps at some time they're going to need to be moved, rather than putting them in a place that you can't get them any further off the street to begin with? I mean, it just seems to make sense as we get more developed that we ought to be thinking ahead to make sure that we're not creating economic issues and safety issues for people in the future. So I would suggest that these poles be moved to the edge of the traveled way, not the traveled way, the edge of the layout of the street.
Jared, can
Any
you,
questions? Anybody?
Jared, can you answer any of that, please?
Yeah, so I can speak to specifically in this scenario that we have to kind of keep them located more towards the street side, because I'm not sure if how familiar everybody is with that area too, but we have limited space between the edge of the road and where there's actually a gully on that first pole. So we have to work around where the sidewalks are, where the property lines are, environmental concerns. And if you look at it, there's actually like a 20-foot gully that would prohibit us from moving it back and being able to anchor our pole.
Does that answer your question, Lou?
Mr. Town Engineer, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with Jared said. The first couple poles are definitely on the right side. Is if you put it on where the right of way is, there's a pretty large wetland area. The third pole, I don't believe, is near that area. But the three poles are located within, I think there's a 4-foot grass strip between the sidewalk and the roadway, which is usually a good spot to put poles also. I do agree with your comment. It does make sense in many situations. But in this situation where 2 of the 3 poles are kind of near a wetland area, it might not make sense.
Okay.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a question regarding the location of the poles and the diagram. So I can see P1, P2, P3, but going back to the dotted line that's across Atkinson Avenue, what is that on the opposite side? I see the diagram, it says something push brace, but can you just describe what you're trying to do? Is it, are the poles only on that left side of Atkins? But what is the dotted line? That's my question. Why is that called to my attention?
So that dotted line across, along Washington Street is the existing overhead primary wire, the existing conductor. That push brace is being added to support that pole that's already existing on Washington Street. But we're in contact with the DOT because that's considered a state road. So that's a fixture that we're in contact to get everything set up and perform the work on Washington Street in accordance with the state. And then, yeah, both sets of those dotted lines, the one that's just kind of dashed and the one that has the dash and the dots are the existing overhead conductors and the proposed overhead conductors.
Thank you very much.
Mr. McCrisky, any questions? None. Steve? No?
No questions for me.
Is there any questions from the public? Ms. Walsh?
Walsh, 96 Park Street. This isn't a question, it's a suggestion or a request that poll locations on the agenda, put the location. There's nothing on the agenda that indicates where this poll is. And the average person doesn't have access to what you have.
We can do that. It's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not listed. That's called an oversight, Cynthia, I guess. Is there anybody else who would like to be heard in the public? I'll entertain a motion to close.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? You're all set, Jared?
Thank you guys very much.
Mr.
Have a
Vice
nice
Chair.
night.
Just before we move on to the vote, I do want to mention that the public notice does include the intersection of Washington and Ackerman.
Yeah, it had that, but it didn't have the number of the place it was serving.
Yeah.
That instead of just saying the applicant, it would have been, you need that, but it's all right.
Make sure to
Most of it was-
turn your mic on.
Yeah, it's all right.
I got you. Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I thought we just voted to approve it.
Was it?
We just voted to approve it, didn't we? Oh, we voted to close. Deborah made the motion?
Was it to approve? I made a
Right.
motion to approve this.
Who's seconded it?
And Ms. Roberts.
I didn't, that's why I didn't hear it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's all set. Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have 5B. A public hearing will be held by the Select Board on April 1st, 2025 at 8 p.m. to consider the application of Stoughton Bakery and Cafe, Inc., located at number 27-29 Wyman Street, Stoughton, Mass. 02072 for a common victuals license. The hearing will be conducted at the Great Hall, 3rd floor, Town Hall, 10 Pearl Street, Stoughton, Mass., and/or virtually and via Google Meets, and may be broadcast via Stoughton Media Access, television, and live stream. Google Meets video link and telephone connection for the public comment available by calling the Select Board office at 781-341-1300, extension 9212, or email to gpereira@stoughtonmass.gov. I'll entertain a motion to open the hearing. I have a motion from Mr. McCrisky to open.
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the hearing is open. Is the applicant online or in the audience?
She's online.
Okay. Ma'am, hang on a second. I'm going to read some departmental info and stuff into this, and then we'll turn it to you. Is that okay?
You're currently on mute. Thank you.
Yes.
We have business contact information. We have the application for the license, and counter seating is none. Table seating is 8. The total seating capacity in the area is 12. The hours they wish to open are from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have adequate trash and trash pickup. The applicant has workman's comp, and it meets the town's regulations. And I have to give this to the applicant, that she has a good floor plan, and it's drawn very nicely, and I'm sure the board appreciates it. We have a business certificate, which I appreciate that Kelly supplied, because I was going to start to ask if we had business certificates, because we have a lot of places that will switch, and they won't know that they have to get one, so I got to give it to Kelly for doing that. From the Assistant Chief of the Fire Department, Jackson Maycomber, we have an approval. From Deputy Chief O'Connor, the Stoughton Police Department has given it approval. From Jack Erickson, Building and Zoning, he has given an approval. From Teresa Cardoza, who is the Treasurer's Office, there's no objections from that office. From Anna at the Public Works, Department of Water, the water is okay. The advertisements were put out in a proper order, and the abutters list has been paid and circulated. Okay, and it's up to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have just a question. We have two numbers, two places inside the bakery. You can see on the map I did. Is that 27, 29. How many seats can I put on the 29 too?
She's how many
Can you hear me?
seats?
Wait a minute, ma'am.
Okay.
We're gonna get something, but I know you would like to have more seats, but right now, what you have put on this application, we have to go by. If you want to change the seating, you're gonna have to come in to amend it. Is that all right?
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
You're welcome.
Thank
So
you.
go ahead and tell us what you're either continuing to do or changing.
Oh, we do it the same thing. Is the breads, all the menu is the same. Everything is the same. We just put different things right now. It's more bread, more food, more different kind of bread or stuff like that.
Okay. Is there any questions of the board? Would anybody like to speak? Deborah?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Joe?
Just a quick comment. I think I would like to just say thank you to Alicia Pisana and her family, who have done a great business there over the years and done a great service to the community. So I wish them luck in their retirement and all the best.
But thank you.
That's very nice, Mr. McCrisky. Steve, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, sure. I'm a big fan of the Stoughton Bakery. When a couple of years ago, I started to learn Portuguese. I went in and asked if they could help me by giving me a chance to do a little practicing. And in Portuguese, the current people who were running the store told me that from now on, if I came in and did an order in Portuguese, they wouldn't serve me. So, which I appreciated very much. It definitely.
We can teach you.
My Portuguese is not very good, but it's not because of the lack of the help that I received at the Stoughton Bakery. They really looked out for me, and always a great place to go. I love the food there, and the people are great. So I really look forward to seeing you as well, and thanks for picking Stoughton as a place you want to do business.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak? Ms. Walsh?
Cynthia Walsh, 1096 Park Street. Is there a plan to have a defined breakfast, lunch, dinner, or this is just an all-day menu?
Anna Maria, would you like to answer her question? She wants to know if it's broken up to be breakfast and then lunch, or if it's whatever all day long you can get.
All day long. Yeah, sometimes it's all day long. We have specials. Look like on Fridays, on Tuesdays, on Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. We have malasadas. Some things different, but it's always the same, and all day long. It's not a breakfast, lunch, and dinner separate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? I'd like to say something. I'd like to thank you for keeping a bakery in our town. It's something that it holds on to the past. When you're little, you go to that bakery, you get the finger rolls, and you go home, and you know that it's party time for, and you stuff the sandwiches with whatever. So I thank you. I stop there a lot when I don't need a lot of rolls anymore, but rolls are good.
We keep going the same things, the Portuguese ones, Italian ones, and Brazilian ones now.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What's the wish of the board, please? I have a motion from Mr.
Second.
McCrisky. I have a second from Deborah. Is there any other questions on the motion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set, ma'am. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Carrera, as always. I really appreciate your help leading these public hearings. The next order of business on our agenda is renewal of Town of Stoughton Health Insurance Opt-out Program. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tisdale to describe what we're looking at here and what we'll be voting on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Tisdale. You remember, well, I certainly remember about 2 or 3 years ago when we had issues with the trust fund, health insurance issues, things like that. We were trying to get creative in ways to make this cheaper for the town. And when cheaper for the town pays 70% of the health insurance for employees, right? And there's a line item in our budget that actually shows that cost. And so it's a big line. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's a lot of money. And we're trying to get creative with ways of how to save the town money. So we reached out to a few other towns and see what they did. And the state does this too, and they come up with these opt-out programs where you actually pay an employee about, say 25% of the cost of the plan to actually not join the plan, which saves this town roughly about $20,000. It costs about $25,000 for a family plan, and if you pay the family plan opt-out, on our plan it's $6,000. For an individual, it's $3,000. So it actually saves a lot of money. Last time we offered this 2 years ago, 37 employees opted out, which saved the town roughly about $700,000 just from that pure cost, let alone the estimated the claim, the cost for the claims, which were to be around about $1 million, according to our insurance. So about $1.5 million is saved the town out of that line item. So to me, it's great. I mean, 37 people opted out. I know for sure there's some employees who have spouses who work for the state or other towns or things like that or other private companies that have insurance plans are about the same or maybe a little worse, but if they get the opt-out, they will opt out of our plan to join that plan. I did it myself, to be honest with you. So my wife works for the state. I opted out, joined her plan, and it saved our town a lot of money for the family plan. I know a lot of other employees did it too. So if you need detailed breakdowns of what it saved the town for those 37 employees, we can give that to you. But I do have some raw numbers in front of me. After you take our cost out, which is $192,000 for the opt-out, so paying 27 family plans for $6,000, 10 for $3,000, that's $192,000. Our savings is $734,000, excuse me, and that's just over $1 million in total estimated claims for opt-out participants if still enrolled in the health insurance plan, and that was based off prior year's claims. So it saves us just over $1.5 million by continuing this program. Again, you may ask, well, of the 37 people who opted out, how do we know they'll all not go back on? You don't. But even if half of them did, take the $734,000, take that in half. What's that? $375,000. It's costing us $192,000. So you still save money, even if half went off. And again, there's certain people that come on and off every year. It fluctuates a little bit. So I certainly like the idea of keeping it, the opt-out program. Obviously, I'm on it, so I'm going to maybe have a, you would think I would have a different opinion, but from a town perspective, it made a huge impact on our budgeting. It's over $1 million, so.
I appreciate that. I remember, I did kind of forgot we were doing this from last year, but it sounds like a win-win for everybody, so it seems to benefit all around. Are there any questions from the board or comments? Seeing none, what is the will of the board?
Motion to approve as written.
Second?
Okay, motion was to approve was made by Vice Chair Carrera and seconded by Mr. McCrisky. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Making good time. So the next order of business is I'd like to invite Roberta Harback and also Peter Buckley from the Redevelopment Authority. There's a number of projects that they would like to give us a presentation on, discuss the work they've done and the work that they're looking to do in the coming
Thank you, dear.
coming couple of years.
Nice book.
Thank you so much.
Peter, how are you?
The chair of the SRA requested this meeting, and I just would like to say that every opportunity I have to talk to Roberta over the phone, it's always a wonderful conversation. I appreciate you reaching out, and also for the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. So my name's Roberta Harback. I'm on the Stoughton Redevelopment Authority, and
Peter Buckley, I'm the Vice Chair of the Stoughton Redevelopment Authority.
so we're here tonight because we have a proposal to work with the selectmen, to work with the town, to do a senior home project off on Lambert Road, right next to the Council on Aging. So I have met with Town Manager Coulter about this. We met with Bob Desmond, who's also on the redevelopment, and I myself met with the planning board last week. And there are things that need to be done because as it stands now, I believe only the Housing Authority, is that right, can do senior housing. So what the planning board would have to do would be changing, making some type of, is it a policy?
No, basically what we're trying to do is that there is no bylaw in the town, correct, for right now for senior housing outside of, as Roberta described. Housing Authority has that authority in the town now. What we're searching to do right now is draft a warrant article. Hopefully, the sooner we can get it on is to special in the fall, maybe. If not, we'd have to wait to the next town election or the town meeting. Basically, right now, what we're doing in the meeting, if I'm correct on that, is basically they're willing to work with us to get this bylaw drafted. So that's where we're staged right now, and that is just the very bare bones beginning of this whole project.
So we come to you to sell our idea, to hope the select board likes the idea, because without your approval, and then the planner, and then obviously town meeting's approval, we can't move forward with this. So in a nutshell, now everything that I have here is just conceptual. Nothing's etched in stone. There's a lot of stuff in there, may be legal, may not be legal. But it's a little under 2 acres of land, not a lot. If people are familiar with it, the town did buy those lots years ago, I remember at town meeting. And I think there may be some wetlands in the back, I'm not 100% sure. But as I drew it out on the plan, I do have a 40-foot road. I have all the lots at 50 feet wide. The homes would be ADA, all ADA, very small one-bedroom homes. And these would be for seniors over 65. You can be 60. That's all the little stuff we could work out later on. But the idea is for a senior now who wants to stay in the town of Stoughton, who has a $650,000 raised ranch and wants to sell it, could move into one of these more affordable ADA-compliant small homes. The town would approve the street, they'd have trash pickup, they'd have water and sewer. The details on how the town gets paid for this land is also something in question. But if it does get approved by town meeting, the redevelopment would take the next step and do the engineering. And we would pay for the cost of dividing up the lots. And we're not going to be there with hard hats on or anything like that. We would have to do an RFP, would have to work with Fran to put out a proposal, and would work it out with the select board, the town manager, and make everything right. And we could have, maybe up to 20 small homes for senior housing that I think the town really needs. And, there's other caveats I have in there. If it could be for Stoughton seniors, we're not looking for any state funding. These wouldn't be considered affordable homes because they will be affordable, because they're going to be small. They'll be more energy efficient, and it would be a way for seniors and people to stay in Stoughton. And we really wouldn't be interfering with the neighborhood. We're not building a 6-story building. We're putting little houses and that have their own yards and have to maintain them. So that's it in a nutshell, if anyone has questions.
Yeah, Mr. Carrera, Vice Chair Carrera.
I don't really have any questions. I know, Joe, this was Donahue Trucking and Coheno property. It's been just sitting there for a while. It was funny, I was just thinking about this the other day, what's going on with it, And I think what you guys touched on is something that's good. And the key is we don't need any money from anybody else.
Correct.
It's the only way we can lock it down specifically for Stoughton residents.
Correct.
Is we're going to have to take it upon ourselves to do it on our own. And if it means utilizing like experts inside our thing, our own walls, like the fire station when we pick the site finally, that's what has to be done, is that type of a working group in conjunction with you people. And I gotta tell you, I commend you on it. I think it's something that people have been screaming at me about it. Why can't we? Why can't we? And I says, well, you got to understand, the Stoughton Housing Authority isn't really the Stoughton Housing Authority. The Stoughton Housing Authority is a federally run group, which opens it up under fair housing to everybody. But we can do this, and this is what I like.
Thank you. Robin Grimm knew about this. I met with John Charbonneau, the planner. I had the thing from 3 years ago. So it's just been very, very slow, and the town manager called seemed receptive to it when I mentioned it to him. So he said, run with it, talk to Mark, talk to a developer. So, we've done a lot of that but we don't want to put the cart before the horse. And we're not going to go taking land that we don't own and engineering it
I
out.
worked on one of these in another town. I won't use the town's name. But I got called in to finish the job because the other guy had to leave. And it turned out to be a sweet thing for their town. And you'd be surprised, loved ones lose one person, and they're a one unit at that age. And it's good that they're in a place as dense as this, and they sort of lean on their neighbors, and it becomes more family than just 20 homes.
Correct.
So La Civita Court used to be like that. You know it more than anybody.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Mr. Pekursky?
I guess, first, a comment, finally, that we're here. And I think I would probably blow that comment up that we've talked about it before. We've beaten this thing to death, brought it back to life, and beat it back into the grave. I'm glad it's here. So do you have a model program that you're going to use?
No.
No, this hasn't been done anything?
Not that I'm aware of. This is just something I
Talked with you probably
years
50
ago.
times about
Yeah.
this, but I think some of these questions, so people know what it is.
Well, I don't know if there is, and I think that there's a need. I mean, I'd be willing even to go to the Council on Aging, have a meeting talking to seniors,
if I can,
further down the line.
Yeah, I'd ask you just to elaborate a little bit for people at home, maybe for my colleagues here. But I've spoken to you this, and I've said to you 100 times, I like it.
Right.
I like it, but I would just like people at home
to get a little bit more understanding of how you have a vision for this. Because you're going to be in the front lines. with it,
Right.
you know?
I see it as, I just see people aging, and people want to live in the home. I mean, I do speak to older seniors that would like to stay, and, they need a roof, they need this. This is a way that they could live, I mean, it's close. I mean, the lots are 50 feet wide, and you have a 24 by 24 home. It's small. But, there's a path to the Council on Aging. People don't want to live in a condo. They want to be able to garden. They want to be able to, if I can't mow my lawn, I can pay somebody to mow my lawn. But condo fees and a condo association, it just doesn't work. The rates go up, there's a management company, they hire their uncle to do the plan, all that. We don't need that. If the town accepts the roads and we put the developer puts all the utilities in, does everything they need, there will be 20 little homes right there. I have even on the thing a plot, like a path to the senior center, even in the middle there, if it works out, some green space. It's a nice spot of town. I mean, you really can't walk to really anything else unless you got pretty good legs. I guess you can make it to Sonic, but it's a way so you pull up in your driveway, you walk in your back door or your side door, and you walk 6 steps with your groceries. You don't have to walk across a parking lot, take an elevator, go up the stairs, and it would be a sense of community. They're cookie-cutter homes. I mean, the roofs can go north-south to east to west. The kitchen could be flipped. I mean, it's kind of like Pinecrest, but smaller in tighter lots. And that's basically the concept, I guess.
Another one, Peter could probably answer this best. What prohibits us from coming up with our own housing plan on that? If we're not accepting state and federal money, we could do it. It could be managed through Redevelopment Authority. It could be managed through Council on Aging, whatever. I mean, so there's nothing, if I'm not mistaken, Peter, there's nothing that prohibits us doing it unless we take state and federal funds, correct?
No, there's nothing prohibit. What basically was prohibiting us now is the bylaw. So we need the mechanism to move forward, and that's what it comes down. Other than that, no, it's a benefit to the town.
Right.
And just whatever's been discussed on there. The funding would come privately for the most part, so you would involve private contractors and all that one. The money expended by that would come up. There's going to be a formula down the line that can be drafted for that. Right now, we haven't pinpointed what formula that can be.
Okay.
So with that there, yes, it could work, and it can be put in, just with the right mechanisms behind it.
How long do you think it's going to take you to do the bylaw? Are you going to come in here and speak with the planner again and engineering, all that?
They're already working on it.
They are? Okay,
We went
good.
last
Okay.
Thursday,
good.
or Wednesday, and it's just if you can get it on special town meeting. I'm assuming we're going to have a special town meeting.
Most likely, and it'll be on
But
there.
I would need your little push to the planner and say, yeah, we want to do this. Otherwise,
Right.
we'll be sitting here a year. It's coming up in next month,
Depending on how this vote goes tonight, that'll say just that.
Exactly, and
So,
then once it goes through that in in the fall, then we could start working with Fran, working with the board, working on the RFP to satisfy everybody's needs. Because there is a lot of things, I have covenants on the deeds, and I mean, I'm putting out there pretty much everything. But, we don't want this turning into, one of the men at the planning board said, well, they did the Brewster Ave, and, they had to make it under 65, but those are lateral moves. People were selling their raised ranches for the same price. You're selling your raised ranch and you're getting something more affordable. I can't put a price on these houses, but it's definitely not going to be the cost of the raised ranch that you live in now. You'd be putting money in your pocket.
There's no comparison with Brewster Ave. That was
Correct.
one that more or less was kind of forced on the developer by some people, and people weren't buying them in Stoughton.
Right.
I mean, my mother moved down to Bridgewater, High Pond Estates. They sell like crazy down there. People are out, and when they pass or they leave, the place is sold by the next month. I mean, so depending on the areas, they are definitely selling, but we found out that I just would concern me if we use Brewster Ave as an example.
No, he was just
Because
saying
this
that
is
they
a
didn't.
different concept.
And I said it's not a lateral move. These are definitely this is downsizing.
Exactly. Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just to elaborate on what Roberta said, too, basically, it's keeping people in the town. Just the people that are going older, they can't afford, and it's just because it's their fixed incomes, if that's what it is. They can't afford the tax base in the homes they have currently. So this is a great opportunity for the residents to downsize. Downsize completely, like you said, it's not a condo, there's no condo fees involved. This would be fun, just like a regular street in a public way would be in the town. So it's a win-win for that aspect alone there. As small as that, you might see a couple more pop up around the town if, you know, if the land or allows it to, and the zoning allows it as well.
And yeah, and I think what we're missing too, though, is we're creating a community. You're
Exactly.
really creating a community. People go to the Council on Aging to play cards, have a meal with their friends. You know, it'd be nice if they could walk just a few feet to get there. But now you have people of the same age group that'll be living pretty close together. You know, now they're interacting instead of sitting in their homes like we all know. We have some shut-ins here, and when you want to say, come on out to the Council on Aging, no, I don't want to be around that many people. You know, so I think this is really going to give us a need that can grow. And like you said, Roberta, it's going to keep people in the town.
Right.
You know, and give them an affordable option to stay amongst their friends. So I think this is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Roberts?
Hi, Peter, and hi, Roberta. I like the idea. I haven't heard a lot of the details before, so this is my first time. My fellow Select Board members, they asked a lot of questions that I was going to ask you. So I'm left with this one question, and it's regarding, it's your design, your vision. Can you just walk me through? This is on page 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, I am not an architect, but I
I
can
get
do,
it.
I can
You know,
do
I
a
get
plan. It's,
Thought you were an art major.
yeah, well, whatever. The only girl in tech, I was the only girl in tech drawing.
So if you could hold it up, I see the
Yes,
the 20
it's
units.
basically a 24 by 24 home.
Yeah.
And you have a living room, the doorways are wide, you know, so
So
for
is it like a
wheelchair.
cul-de-sac? I kind of get the vision that
I'm
it's,
sorry, I thought you were talking about the floor plan. Okay.
No, no, no.
Yes. What I envisioned from the lot, I enlarged it, and everything is to scale. You have 200 feet as you come in. So I have the road coming in from Lambert, and all those 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, those lots are labeled. Those are the lots, not homes. They're all 50 feet wide, and I don't know the depth because the way I made the road.
Yeah.
I just made the road conform because the way the two lots kind of kick out a little bit to the side. And then you can see there's the path to the senior center. So I don't know if all those lots would be available. This is just a thought process. This is best-case scenario that there really could be 20 lots. I mean, if those ones in the back are wet, everything would have to be shifted. But would find that out during evolving through the process.
so would there be parking areas?
They would have
built,
their
I guess,
own-
around the periphery of that, right?
They would have their own parking in their own driveway, single-width driveway. Because if the lot's 50 and the house is only 24, you're having, you know, do the math,
yard,
12 and 12 on
maybe a
each
little
side.
yard or
So you'd
something.
you'd have your own little yard, and you'd have your own driveway, probably a double-length, single-width driveway. And yes, I want everybody to have their own space, their own yard. If you want to put all rocks on it so you don't have to mow it, that's your business, you know? But yeah, I just think I just know, I know I won't be, but you know, when I had the Penny Saver home, when I bought the house that I had my business in, I bought the tenant too, that lived upstairs. She had moved in, she was a single mother, she moved there, and I forget how many years she lived there, so she kind of came with the house. And when I was selling the house, when I was downsizing the business and everything, she was 80-something years old. And she used to walk to Price Right, she could walk to take the train, she'd walk to the bank. And I spoke to her after she moved. She goes, Roberta, she goes, I looked down at a parking lot. I have no yard. You know, it's kind of sad. I mean, it's, I don't know. I just think it's a better quality of life for older people. And I just think it's a win-win situation for the town. We should do more for our seniors, you know, than we're doing. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
I hope that
And so-
answered you.
You did. I visualized your vision, And I thought about the seniors, sometimes they want a garden and things like
Right.
that, because that helps them with being peaceful.
Right.
And seeing things grow. I like the idea a lot.
Thank you.
Mr. Gito, sorry, are you done, Ms. Roberts? Mr. Gito, any questions or comments?
Your comment, I guess, as much as anything else. I'd not seen any plans on this before. And I guess I just must have been sleeping at the switch.
No, I had discussed it, and I think I had sent something prior over the years, but I don't think I sent the whole packet to the select board. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, yeah, and I don't really know what you're talking about in terms of some sort of an article for town meeting for the purpose of what?
Oh, that, you want to tell them about the article again? That's not
Well,
coming up yet.
basically, we have no component other than the Housing Authority right now to build senior housing in the town. Basically, if we allow, we can draft a bylaw. There is language out there to get that approved for the town in order for the town to go forward with that type of development outside of the Housing Authority. That's what the warrant article is for, is to create a bylaw.
And we just met with the
redevelopment authority to do?
No, this will be a townwide bylaw going forward to allow senior housing.
For the redevelopment authority to do the work?
Not just for the redevelopment authority. This is going forward for anybody who can comply with the bylaw. Of course, there would be zoning aspects to it as well that they would have to comply with, but it would be added to the zoning bylaw to allow senior housing type of projects in the town.
Yeah, and we just met with the planner last week, so this is not in the packet for May. We're just preparing to get your blessing so we can move forward for the special town meeting in the fall.
I guess I'd like to talk with the planner and get a better sense of what this is really going to turn into. I mean, I don't know where this is being done in other communities, same size. I mean, I've seen smaller developments in places, and they look very nice. And I don't know what the dimensions are for those versus what you might be proposing. So I don't really feel prepared to say, oh, this is wonderful, go ahead. I don't want to say, no, don't go ahead, but at the same time, I really would have liked to seen a little bit more and have a chance to explore this a little bit before my voting as a member of this board to say, oh, go ahead and do this. I mean, that turns into a commitment without any real understanding of what that commitment might mean. And I think I don't mean to be disrespectful when I ask these questions, but if you were going to a bank to do something, you'd have to have more information to go there and say, oh yes, this is what I want to do. And what you're asking, it sounds like, is for us without much information at all to say, oh, go ahead, we approve of this, and I don't want...
The only thing you're approving is to go ahead with a bylaw, to draft a bylaw. That's it. That's all we're asking.
You don't need our approval to draft a bylaw.
We'd like your blessing.
No,
That's what
yeah,
it is.
I mean, but
We don't want the planner to, I don't know, just say how many hours it's going to take him to do this. We don't want him to take the time to do this if the select board isn't on board with the idea of them drafting the bylaw.
No,
So that's why I'm trying to tell you
I'm
what
not-
my concept is, because I would hate for the planner to do all this work, and then we come to you guys and go, we don't like it. And I mean, the planner's not going to want to really do the work without the approval of the board, because you're the ultimate authority. So we kind of, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, and that's why.
No, I think the chicken needs to be defined a little bit better, is what I think. I mean, I'm not against the concept. But
If I'm hearing it correctly, Lou, on that one, the bylaw would be the chicken. So that's what we're trying to create right now. So that would give you more information as when we get the language to the bylaw, to actually, more information will be more definitive as to the aspects of the project. Right now, we have it on this. This is all we have is a plan, it's hand-drawn, but it's a concept. And that's what alls we're coming for, was the concept and the blessing to go forward, in your words, to create the chicken.
Because we're not capable of creating chicken on our own. We need the planning board. Yeah.
I do understand that. Well, I don't know what else to say. I would like the opportunity to get a little bit more information on what these things really turn into, to be able to have a discussion about, yes, it would be wonderful for you to have a bylaw, but I think you need to watch out for A, B, and C.
Correct.
I mean, that's which is different from saying, oh, go ahead and do it, without any concept of what that might be.
Gotcha.
That's where I am.
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't think I can say much more about that.
I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. McCrisky?
No, I think here is, folks tell me if I'm wrong, this is a consensus. Is the board interested in moving forward? I personally look forward to moving forward. But we can find out and we can ask questions. There's no reason they can't come back, get a plan, meet with all the players, come up with a proposed bylaw. We can ask all the questions we want. We can question whether they're good, bad, make recommendations. But to not let this move forward from this point forward, I think is wasting time. And this is what we seem to do a lot. We get wrapped up with what could happen and what does it look like. Let's give them the opportunity to come back with a proposed bylaw, maybe a little bit better plan, maybe a sample of a house that's similar, so that when we vote on the bylaw, we're going to have all the information we need and ample time before the meeting to get one-on-one meetings, which I know that Peter and Roberta would welcome any time. So I'll be voting for this, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.
Okay. If it's okay, just go ahead.
It'll be quick. This bylaw can be site-sensitive to just this site for the first test, too.
I
It isn't
don't
gonna
know.
be. It isn't going to be like a blanket bylaw. You can do that where you name the property. You know what I mean? On this
That I'm
property
not
bylaw.
sure, Scott, because that's what I had suggested, and he said, because I said, well, since it's town-owned property, can't you? And he goes, well, you have to follow the same rules. And I understand, I wasn't trying to pull a fast one because it's town-owned property, but I want to say assumed, but if the town owned the property, they would have more flexibility to saying, this is a trial. But I'm not an attorney and I'm not a planner. I'm just thinking logically.
I'm trying to help you and tell you
You're the
what's
same
what's
way.
legal.
Yeah.
Are you
Because
talking like a pilot program type of
It's like
thing?
when just because there's guidelines doesn't mean you got to stay all the way inside them. If you're a foot outside, they ain't going to have a heart attack about it. But it's almost like when we allow these 40Bs over 55 to go in, and then they come back and they go, we can't make money with over 55, we want to just fill it with whatever now. We could turn that down and force them to stay within
Correct.
the 55. So this is why I'm saying what you do, you can make it what they call time sensitive, which is derivative to that address. You know what I mean?
Which, that's what I wanted. But I don't know if the planner, like I said,
So,
Planner's the plan. Okay, so that's all I'll say about that.
so I have only a couple comments. When as I've heard the proposal, not the full proposal, but pieces of it. You kind of you've been thinking about this for a long time, and I know, at least for myself, you've shared it from time to time, your thoughts on it, and when you're up until just a couple of days ago, if this was something that was was in town meeting and we were just voting on it, I probably would vote for it. But I wasn't so inspired that I felt like I really wanted to jump on the wagon and help drive it. But actually, after the last conversation that we had, you really turned me around on that. Like I really actually feel like I wasn't giving it as sort of the attention it needed. I had an open mind, but I didn't quite understand it. And as you sort of fleshed out the bigger picture, and I bet I understood what you're looking to do, I'm excited by the possibilities of it, which I think is really what you're exploring right now. Not
Correct. Nothing
This is
set in
not
stone.
a reference to any comment made so far by anybody on this board. But I've noticed in projects in the past, you say, "Hey, I have this idea for something," and people are already want to know like what color the drape's going to be and what kind of tile are we using, And you're like, "Well, I don't like that, so I don't know if I like this." But take it easy,
Right.
We haven't decided. No decisions have been made. You've put together. I think you did a good job of sort of like really emphasizing the fact that this is just a concept, right?
Correct.
And nothing beyond that. And if anybody if it was helpful to have some visual aids, here's something, but it might turn into, and this might not be what it actually looks like in the end.
Exactly.
And so for that, I'm very appreciative, and I'm personally very excited to explore the possibilities, both in this project and working with the SRA in ways that we really haven't in the past. And
Yeah,
I think
and
there's
that's
a lot of
the
opportunity here.
Right, we want to do that.
Yeah, I just that's what I was going to add on to there, Mr. Chairman, was that not only, we've saw this is going to create a good community, like Joe has said as well, for the residents, but this is going to create a partnership with these boards as well. And it's time, if they're going to move this town forward, it's going to start to making these partnerships with the other boards and everything, and it's going to be beneficial to the town down the line.
Because we want to do something productive. We want to do something good for the town.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the possibilities of it. As far as voting on something tonight, if it's left simply to me, I probably hold off. But at the same time, I'm just one member of the board. So if the motion's made, I'll probably support whatever that is. If it's to have a vote tonight on essentially just saying that move forward. I mean, there's always the possibility that we say move forward and then whatever comes out, we don't like that, right? But
Correct.
But at the same time, I hope that you see that regardless of that, the general sentiment that I'm reading from our board is an interest in working together with you guys to find the common ground we need to do something, and doing something is better than doing nothing, which I very much appreciate all the work that you've put into this so far.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McCrisky.
I make a motion that the Select Board authorize the Redevelopment Authority to engage with town staff, including any expertise that each of these town staffs can provide to come up with a suitable plan and the wording of a bylaw to be put forth for the next special, or I would say the earliest town meeting, put it that way. That's my motion.
thank you. Oh, wait.
I'll second that.
Okay. I will just ask for a very friendly amendment, which should go without saying, but I would just like this to be overseen by the town manager to make
Yes.
sure that
That's-
the resources are
No, deals off.
so if you guys are amenable to that,
Yeah, that's what I said,
the
the
project's
appropriate
overseen by the
staff,
town
which is,
manager.
that's Mark's department.
Absolutely, I accept that friendly amendment.
Perfect. Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Well, sure. You're entitled.
I know, the chicken and the egg, Lou, I know, I got it. Chicken
Okay,
and the egg.
so we have a 4-1. We're very eager to see what comes of it. And as always, I really appreciate all the hard work you've both put in, the rest of the SRA has put in to thinking about this and working. I know, Roberta, you've
Mostly
been doing
Roberta.
the heavy lifting, but we can't do it. We can't do it without our friends and without our colleagues. So everyone gets to share a little bit of the glory.
Great, thank you. And if you could let the planner know on your decision, I would appreciate that, so he can get moving on. Thanks, guys, I appreciate it. I know we took up a little extra time.
Thank you
Have
very
a great
much.
night.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And for our last order of business, we have an update from the 300 Anniversary Committee. This is their chair is here, Kelly Laguerre. Hi, Kelly. It's great seeing you.
Hi. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, we're able to see you and we're able to hear you.
Okay, great. Sorry I could not be there in person tonight. Next time I will come in person. I just wanted to give a few updates for the committee, and we have a few questions we're hoping we can get answers on tonight. First, we have asked for an additional committee member position to be opened. The committee, we ask that when we do have applicants and that you meet with the applicants, that they understand the time commitment to be a committee member, that we do meet twice a month. We would hope that they will have at least attended a meeting already before they've applied, that we always accept volunteers that can kind of come and go as time permits. It is a big ask for a volunteer position. We do meet every other Monday, and then also we are expected for events. We do community outreach. We will be at things like Stoughton Day. We're going to be at the high school wellness fair at the end of April. So there are additional tasks that are needed for that. So I ask that you keep that in mind. I know last time I presented here, I talked about the signature events that we were planning. We are going to have the gala at the Portuguese Club next May. We're hoping that the train station is also open by then, and we could do some sort of pre-event there and then walk across to the club. So we're getting excited about that, and we will be asking for residents in the town to help out and volunteer as well, and form some subcommittees for the events. We're going to have an open house on Monday, April 14th at 7 p.m. It will be at the Stoughton Public Library in the community room. The committee members will be there. We will talk about the events in detail that we have planned so far. Like I said, we're still in the mid stages of planning. And we also are hoping that people will come sign up to volunteer to help out, whether overall for all events or just a specific event. They might have a forte that they love to do. So we hope you all can make it as well. I will send out invitations via email. We will also have it posted on Facebook and in the Suburban Shopper, things like that. We are working on business sponsorships. We will be meeting next Monday night at the town hall to prepare a mailing to send out to local businesses and hope we have sponsorships so that we can do these huge, wonderful events. One of the things that came up that I'm not sure, so I'm asking if maybe someone here tonight knows, is that are we able to print materials at the town hall since we are a town committee?
Are you able to print materials from Town Hall? I don't see any reason why not, but let me just get back to you on that. I can't imagine, I mean, this is not a campaign. You guys are
Right.
functioning as a committee for the town, so I can't imagine that your work would prohibit you from doing printing through the town. But let me just double check to make sure that I'm not mistaken about that.
And that would be wonderful, because right now the high school had allowed us to print, but their copiers are down, so this mailing has been held for a month now. We
Yeah.
really need to, get some support, so, we're kind of printing on our own right now, and just to get a few hundred out to start. But we will also have options for resident family sponsorships that we're going to have next coming up. So if we could get an answer, I would appreciate that, so we can keep things moving. That would be very helpful to hear that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
and there might be some other ways that we can help get the printing done efficiently and inexpensively. So we'll see if we have some options for you.
Okay. The final thing is that when the original budget was given to us, they were under the understanding that there were going to be certain charges that would go to department budgets rather than to the event budget. And now, as I'm understanding, things will change. And I'm referring to like police, fire, DPW charges. If we could get a confirmation on that, because the budget will change drastically for our events as to what we could do and what we may need to come back and ask for if we do not get sponsorships. So if we could get an answer on that as well, that would be appreciated. Because we are trying to lock down budgets. As I said, we're hoping that we can do in the fall, do a Stone 300th Day, and we have some great things planned, and we were hoping to be able to end the day with fireworks. That is a large amount, and we are hoping to get a sponsor to sponsor the fireworks, but we need to have a real look at what we have for budget and what we can truly, promote to the public of what we can do for the 300th.
Sure. I'd ask, Mr. Tisdale, are you able to take on that task of coordinating that and getting the answers? Perfect. Yeah, so Mr. Tisdale's going to own that now, and he'll be a good partner in that.
Great. So that is it. That's all I have for tonight, and nice and short.
So the one, the one ask that I think is still outstanding is, if I understood you correctly, you're looking to have one more member added to the committee?
Yes.
And that is not an open seat. You're asking for like one more seat to be added to it, or are you just looking for somebody to be added to an open seat?
It's an open seat.
It is an open seat, okay.
Yes.
So it would be an appointment. So do you have a time frame for when you need this by? I'll just say that we do sort of annual appointments in June, and we advertise for those, and we roll through it. If you need somebody sooner, then we can either advertise sooner, or just make the public aware that they can apply, and that we fill seats on a rolling basis. But if you're okay with waiting until June, then you'll just be part of the regular cycle, and we'll appoint somebody at that point.
Yeah, we play for June.
June's fine? Okay. So we'll just
Yeah.
make part of our regular annual appointment schedule. Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Is there anybody who has any questions? What was that? Okay. Yeah, so I think there's a little uncertainty about this. The question that's being asked is that, so this is, Gilda was under the impression that this was, in fact, like an additional seat. Like I don't remember, so somebody's left? Somebody's resigned?
We've had committee members who have had to step down due to the time commitment needed, that after they had joined the committee realized it was more than they could, offer, so.
Okay, I appreciate it. We'll, one way or the other, we'll just do the math and make sure that we can confirm that we have enough seats, and if we need to, we'll add a seat, and then we'll go through this. But regardless, if you need one extra person or one more person, we'll get you another person.
Right, wonderful.
We'll work through that. So I just want to ask that anybody on the board have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Mr. Gito.
Is there anything that you have said tonight that is written down?
Yes.
Where is it?
Well, we have a Google Drive with our calendar of events with all information. I'm happy to send it along.
Is it online?
It's on a Google Drive under the Stoughton.
How are we going to communicate? Look, you talked for 5 minutes. I took no notes.
Right. We have
And
agendas and minutes.
so when I walk out of here, I'm not going to be able to tell anyone basically what you said.
Well,
And
we
that,
have
so
the town
I'm
website.
not sure how all of this, in terms of putting together a program and getting people involved, is working out. And I say that in terms of this. I say that in terms of the last thing that we dealt with. Without having things ahead of time and being able to talk with you about them, I'm not sure what the value is. I see Ms. Walsh's hand up here, and I'm sure that she will educate me. But at the same time, there are 5 of us and a few people listening. And I guess I'm interested in a little bit more structure around this.
Ms. Walsh.
Cynthia Walsh, 1096 Park Street. I am a member of the committee. Kelly, we have a calendar of events. You can certainly furnish copies to each member of the board. We have everything laid out on a calendar. Also, just for the board's information, a third of our committee has left for various reasons, and some present members have serious health issues. We are going to have an open house at the library on the 14th, right, Kelly?
Right.
and we'll be having sign-up tables for volunteers at that time. But whatever we have that the committee has as far as each of the events, if maybe someone at Town Hall could photocopy them, enough so that each member of the select board would have a packet so that they know what's coming up.
Absolutely. So we also have a website, StoughtonMA300.org, that you could go on anytime and see the events. We have those, I keep those posted there. We have minutes and agenda for every meeting that we have that is posted on the town website. You could get information, up-to-date information on there as well. We have now a Facebook group and a page where we will be posting on there as well. We have started a sponsorship with Suburban Shopper, and the first ad will go out next week for the open house. And we'll have a calendar of events at the end of the year. We will have push-outs for events every month. We will, we have a post going in the town crier. We have a post at the Stoughton Public Library. I think we've pretty much flooded information to be available to the public. I'm not quite sure what else we could do. I'm open to suggestions.
Well, no, you
Thank you
guys are
very
doing
much.
fine.
I
would just say,
appreciate knowing that.
yeah, if you just don't mind saying over the calendars to us, we'll spread those around and very much appreciate the work you're doing. Ms. Roberts, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, but my questions were also, I agree with Mr. Gito. I was looking forward to something in writing, a status update, because I always like hearing about all the good things you're planning for the 300. And I like to have something tangible, so when I talk to other people, I can refresh my memory, and I'm not talking from just, from what I remember, because people are asking me questions too. What are they doing? Oh, we can't wait to have the first event. And also, when you talked about your events, your upcoming events, and you said May, I was unsure, were you saying next month May, or are you talking about May of next year?
May of next year.
So the calendar would be
Yeah.
beneficial, Kelly. All that you're doing is really good. I'm hearing nothing but good things. So I want you to be proud of everything that you're doing, and we're excited about it. It's just that one little piece, if we had just a paper like a
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint status update in writing.
And I completely agree and understand that. Part of the problem with that is that I'm still waiting for the contract to come back from legal for the gala, and until I have that signed with the Portuguese Club, I don't feel 100% comfortable fully pushing that out. It's, I submit things, it's over a month now that we're waiting for the contract that the Portuguese Club sent to us was not approved by legal. They wanted to do a different contract. I haven't seen anything since. So I can push out information and, we can say, hey, yes, we're going to do this, but we're still finalizing some of those details. And as I have seen in this town, if any of those details change, sometimes then we're held to certain things. So we give information as we have it, but until certain contracts are signed, I don't want to put out a flyer for, say, the gala. We're doing a calendar of events that this is potential, more information to come. But until we know full budget, what we can get for a sponsorship, what we can afford to have, I don't want to give misinformation to the public on it. So it's kind of a fine line we're walking right now, and that's why we want to have the open house. We, as Cynthia mentioned, we have had committee members leave. We can only do so much with the committee members that we have. So unless we have more volunteers, we can't do a bigger event.
Thank you. Mr. McCrisky, do you have any questions or comments? Nothing? Mr. Carrera? I'm all set. Okay, we're all set. I don't have any comments. I think we've got a couple of...
I have one, if you don't mind. If you have other things that you'd like to do, perhaps it would be worthwhile putting them forward and seeing how that can be accommodated or not. I mean, isn't that part of the
Yeah, I
back
was
and
going to
forth?
recommend a pathway for exactly that. I think it might be helpful if you don't already have one. I don't think you do, to have a member of town staff as sort of a liaison, somebody that can run these, sort of run tasks for you. If there's questions that you have, they can hold on to it. We have a committee filled with volunteers. I know you're all busy with other commitments, including, I know you personally volunteer a lot for a lot of other things. So it's sometimes hard to keep track of all the tasks that need to be looked at. So if it's possible to have town staff aid in that, I would like to be able to help that. We'll see if we can do it. Ms. Walsh, you'd like to be recognized.
The person on the town staff that's been the greatest help to us so far is Matt Cochon.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll see if we can lock somebody in who's sort of accountable for helping you guys move it along. And Matt's has always been wonderful, and the guy works so hard. He does a wonderful job. But we will. Yes, Ms. Pereira.
Kelly, I just wanted you to be aware that the members that step down will need to resign. You'll need to send that resignation to me and to the clerk's office. So we'll know in May what positions we are advertising for and what terms.
Okay, I'll follow up. I believe Dr. Patricia Randolph did send them as they resigned. She did send emails. I don't know if they sent the resignations to us in person. I can go back and check emails.
They can send an email saying that they're resigning. So it would need to come from them and not from Dr. Randolph.
Okay. I will see what we can do.
Yeah, just so we can know what positions we're looking at and what their terms are.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Sure. Thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, I think we will move on. And Kelly, thank you very much for all the work you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So our agenda is complete. I'll definitely entertain a motion to adjourn if there is
Motion
one.
to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
So the motion to adjourn was made by Ms. Roberts, seconded by Vice Chair Carrera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect, unanimous. The time is now 9:17. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Bye, everyone.